Hi, this is Olaf. I'm an elite age group Ironman. I'm turning 50 this year, and we are now 14 weeks away from Kona. And this is episode 27 of my journey to the Ironman World Championships in Kona and St. George. All right, so quick update. Had this pretty good training week ahead of Ironman Frankfurt. So I had a 4-hour bike, I think, on the Wednesday before. I had a 3-hour bike on the Friday before. I had a 2-hour run on the Thursday before, and a 1-hour run on the Saturday, the day before the race, plus a few relatively easy swims. So it was a pretty big week in the end, and then on Sunday, basically out of training, there was definitely no real taper here, was Ironman Frankfurt. So here's first how it went. I was pretty happy overall. So definitely a cool race. It was wetsuit swim in a lake. So it was 24.5, I think, degrees. So it was just still wetsuit was still allowed, which was great. Water was a little bit coolish, but no problem at all. So swim went really well. I have my watch on auto lap every 950 meters, so it gives me sort of the time at every quarter. And started off really well. I think it was 14 minutes 15 for the first 950 meters. And then the second one was 4:45, and the third one was 15, I believe. So it was pretty good. And then I got out of the water in 58:30, which is definitely my PB. So I was super happy with that. And then I jumped on the bike, and target was to sort of be at 240 watts and see how it goes. So obviously, race dynamics were quite interesting because there were definitely people around. So it was more of a group riding dynamics that I'm used to. It was pretty fair. People respected more or less the distances. A couple of guys got actually a blue card behind me, which was stressful because the officials are rolling up and blowing, and you're not sure is it me, and no. But so it was, it was fair. And the first lap I did 238 watts, so pretty much exactly on target, and it was 38 kilometers per hour. Actually, I forgot to say, like after 15 kilometers, I noticed there was some rubbing noise. This is really stressful because you think something's wrong with the bike, or if brake is rubbing against the wheel, then you're losing so much speed versus the power, and you definitely know what. Then you immediately start to feel, oh my God, I'm going so slow. What's going on? So I stopped, but thank God it was just a leaf that a little branch that got stuck between the frame and the wheel. So it got out, and then it took me obviously a few minutes to catch back the guys that I was rolling with, which was a bit annoying. But so first lap all good. Heart rate was more around 145, so it was actually 10 beats higher than in St. George. And then I basically in the second lap started off with sort of 235 watts, had feeling was definitely much harder. Speed was also lower. So more the typical kind of race dynamics, where second part of the race your power drops. At the end also it goes more downhill. So at the end I finished with 232 watts with a time of 4 hours 52 for 183 kilometers, so 37.5 kilometers per hour with 1,800 meters of elevation. So they were actually really happy with that. One of the guys from Oberursel, where my friend, where I was living at my friend's, and also where I was training a little bit when I lived in Germany a couple of years ago, was actually sort of at legal distance, but he followed me the entire. We sort of got together out of the T1, and then he basically shadowed me sort of the entire bike. I just saw him in transition, sort of moving out of the, going to the toilet, so I didn't see him after that. But then so I knew I had one lap to run. So I mean, I paced everything pretty much sort of Ironman effort. I definitely didn't go full out. And same thing, it was maybe slightly above sort of what I would do, if I was racing a bit more conservatively. But on the run, same thing. I was going out maybe a little bit faster than I would in an Ironman if I was a little bit more conservative. But I went out sort of 4 minute pace, 4 or 5 minute pace per K, and then after 5K it slowed down a bit, and I was running more like at 4:20. So at the end of the 10K I was at a 4:15 average for 10.5K, and at that point I was third in the race with one guy who had gone really fast swimming and biking, and another one which was pretty much, he was 10 minutes ahead. Actually the other one was 2 minutes ahead, but running sort of the same speed as me while I was pushing. So and then I dropped out. Was quite happy at that stage. I mean, psychologically, I hadn't prepared myself to run this through and to really start to sort of dig and be in the pain, as you say. So so I was happy with that. My son sort of had moved, so it took me 20 minutes to find him, and then I had to walk 20 minutes to the station to get back to my friend Carsten, and then later in the evening I went back to pick up my bike. But that was really good training day for sure. Then the following day, yesterday, we drove back here to France, so 5.5 hours in the car. On top I had then to bring the car back to Paris to drop it off at Gare de Lyon at the station. It took me another hour and a half, and then I went for a swim to just loosen the legs a little bit. And today I had 2 runs of 1 hour each, and swim to follow. And tomorrow it's going to be 6-hour bike. So definitely going back into it. But today my leg feel good. And it was really nice to be able to do this race sort of without stress, without much pain. Just being able to test a little bit what's going on, and so that went actually really well, and was really happy with it. And so now we are left with 14 weeks to Ironman in Kona, and so there's still some work to do. Right, finally I wanted to share the lessons I learned from this DNF and so from this training race in Ironman Frankfurt. So the first thing I would say is definitely there are no miracles in Ironman, and what I want to say by that is obviously I didn't prepare perfectly for this race. It was not the highlight. I didn't, rest, I think enough. It was sort of, not after a great training block, etc. So it was definitely, not a fantastic performance. It was a good performance. I was happy, obviously, with the swim. I was happy with the bike power I was able to hold. But I did feel that, the last 30K would have been a real pain. and I probably could have finished, second or third, because the guy who was 10 minutes in front, he actually faded quite badly. So that's good news. But on the other hand, I'm nowhere near sort of a world champ performance. So yeah, there's definitely, lesson number one is definitely there's still quite a bit of work. And this is maybe sort of a top 10 performance, but definitely not a podium or a world champion for Kona performance at this stage. So just gotta accept that. The second thing is, when you are sort of riding with groups, you gotta be smart. What I mean by that is, several things. Because I tried to get away sort of in the hills a couple of times, putting just a bit over 300 watts, close to my FTP in there. They were always catching me quite easily then on the downhill, on the flat. So, point number one is, if you're in a group like that, first of all, wait for the second half when everybody's tired, and then you can just ride away. Whereas in the first half, that's typically not happening. So be patient, ride, don't try and do stupid things on the hills, even if it feels relatively easy at the beginning. Be patient. So that's definitely for me lesson number 2. On the nutrition side, it worked quite well. If anything, I was a little bit hungry. At one point, I also felt a little bit lightheaded, so then I took in some more caffeine. I am able to get in 90 grams of carbs an hour. So maybe put in some chumps just to feel a little bit more full, rather than just on the gels. And the drinks, drink a bit more also. I mean, here it was not humid, so that was also a bit special. But I think nutrition I've dialed down pretty well. And then, I guess when you have group dynamics on the bike, you got to follow, right? You have to be well placed, so that when people at the front go, you don't have to put in a massive effort in order to catch them. So it's really great exercise in order to have these group dynamics a little bit more dialed down. So that I was really quite happy with, and overall a really good exercise. Maybe the last lesson also is regarding pacing. So that's obviously the most important. And it definitely has given me good feedback again in terms of, how hard I should push, whether it's on the bike or on the run. I mean, here I think I was close to the limit of what I should push, or how it should feel like, at least on the bike. So, hopefully if I get a bit fitter, I'll be able to go a bit faster. If I get more used to the new position on the bike, I will get a bit more comfortable there. I find I need to do a bit more stretching of my hamstrings, so that's because the position is definitely with the flatter back. So I've now, unfortunately, finally a reason to stretch more. But the bike fitter told me definitely that I need to do that, so I have to include that in my routine. And then really good was to feel at the beginning, because at the beginning of the run it felt easy to run sort of 4 or 5 pace, but after 5k I already didn't feel so nice anymore. So after 20k, I obviously don't know how bad it would have gotten, but just take the 5k easy. I have to imprint that in my brain in order to feel good, especially Kona. Again, it's going to be completely different feeling, but the intensity in terms of feel was definitely great to have done that, and to have had the opportunity to have one more under the belt before Kona. Right, so thanks a lot for watching. Like, subscribe, put in some comments. Always a pleasure to share, and stay tuned.